So, as most of you already know, Melee got some pretty crazy news yesterday. Actually, probably some of the craziest Melee news that I've heard in a minute. And it was actually so shocking that when I first heard about it, I didn't even believe it. I was actually streaming and somebody came into my chat and they told me, hey, Nintendo canceled Big House. And I was like, are you serious? And then after a second, I was like, wait, there's no way this is real. Like, this is the stupidest shit. Stop trolling me. And then they said, no, for real, go check Twitter. And yeah, I mean, that's crazy news. Like, my mind was actually blown. So yeah, if you guys aren't up to date, basically the Big House Online was a tournament that was going to happen online, of course, through Slippy in a couple of weeks. The Big House has been one of the biggest major Melee events happening for the past, like, I don't know, I think it's 8 years, 10 years or something, a long time. And usually, they're held in person. But because of COVID, obviously, they were going to have the tournament take place online. So it was going to have Ultimate, and it was also going to have Melee. Of course, Melee using Slippy and Rollback and that whole system. So Nintendo usually partners with Big House every year. They usually sponsor the event. And I'll kind of go into that too in a bit. But basically, Nintendo wasn't having it. They weren't down for Slippy. They weren't down for Rollback. They weren't down for an emulated version of Melee. Basically, he received a letter saying to stop the event. This event is not happening. Cancel it. Otherwise, we're going to threaten legal action, which is absolutely insane. That is the craziest thing I have heard directly from Nintendo to the Melee community in a very long time. Probably since EVO, actually, where they canceled the entire broadcast and they wanted to cancel the tournament. This is probably some of the craziest Melee news since that, or, since the Project M stuff. So, yeah, it's actually pretty insane to me that Nintendo actually canceled a grassroots event. They haven't done anything like this in a while. Not overall, like, super duper shocking, to be honest. Just because I know how Nintendo is and how much control they like to have over, all their games and everything going on around them. Yeah, still pretty mind-blowing to me that an online event like this got canceled. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that, talk about Nintendo, talk about the implications that come with all of this and what that means for the future of Melee. So how all this started out was yesterday, basically, Big House tweeted that the event was going to be canceled. They received a cease and desist from Nintendo, and it wouldn't be happening. And of course, in classic Smash fashion, everybody teams up to join the battle to fight against Big Nintendo. Everyone is fucking pissed. Everybody is saying fuck Nintendo. Everyone in Twitch chat is shitting on Nintendo. Everybody on Twitter is shitting on Nintendo, commenting on their stuff. Just basically saying free Melee, free Melee. So yeah, Nintendo's getting shit on publicly. People are going pretty ham. And they released a statement. I'm not sure exactly where the statement was released. I don't know if it was like a Kotaku article or something. But Nintendo ended up releasing a statement about the whole situation. And here's what they said. Nintendo appreciates the love and dedication the fighting game community has for the Super Smash Bros. Series. We have partnered with numerous Super Smash Bros. Tournaments in the past and have hosted our own online and offline tournaments for the game. And we plan to continue that support in the future. Unfortunately, the upcoming Big House tournament announced plans to host an online tournament for Super Smash Bros. Melee that requires use of illegally copied versions of the game in conjunction with a mod called Slippy during their online event. Nintendo therefore contacted the tournament organizers to ask them to stop. They refused, leaving Nintendo no choice but to step in to protect its intellectual property and brands. Nintendo cannot condone or allow piracy of its intellectual property. Okay, hold the fuck on, Nintendo. Nintendo makes it sound in this statement like they really give a fuck about our community. Just really bothers me. Just straight up. Like, Nintendo hasn't really done shit for our community, to be 100% real. And that's especially the Melee community, right? I think there have been some things they do for Ultimate, and I think Smash 4 too, which is pretty dope. They hosted their big Nintendo tournament in LA. I think it was for Ultimate's release. And, they had players go, and I think that's pretty rad. I think that kind of, like, opens up the door to have, like, the community and Melee be together and live a harmonious lifestyle. Like, having the community be together and, like, kind of grow that bond a bit, I think that really helps that. But for Nintendo to say, like, they really care about us and, like, they've partnered with our events and, like, I don't know, for Nintendo to come out and say that they really care about the community, like, we're so sorry, we just have to protect our intellectual property, it just comes off as really disingenuous, I think. I think that's the right word for it, is just disingenuous. It's like, dude, you guys really don't give a fuck. You try to cancel us so many times. You just don't really care that we exist. Like, if you really cared, you'd be trying to, like, build a bond with the community more often. You'd be trying to help us out. But instead, you are actually always just trying to fuck us over. Like, Nintendo is always just trying to find a way to shit on us, basically. And it's really shitty, honestly. Like, being 100 with you guys, as somebody who has been playing professionally for so many years and, done this for a long time, I have often wished that we actually did have Nintendo support, right? Like, I often wish that Nintendo was putting us on the spotlight, or, like, did have these connections with us, or, like, Even when tournaments started announcing that they're going to be sponsored by Nintendo, like it was a big deal, and I was really excited for like everything that was going to come with that. And like I'm pretty confident actually that Nintendo doesn't do shit when they partner with the tournament. Like I'm pretty sure they don't provide setups. Obviously, they don't provide any sort of pop bonus. I'm not even sure what promo they offer. Like I don't think I've ever seen like Nintendo America actually tweet out like, "Hey, go watch the Big House 7 Grand Finals right now." Like that would be huge. Imagine Nintendo did that, right? They're never doing that. I think as far as it goes, it's just Nintendo saying, "Hey, put our logo on your event. You're not going to run any modified versions of the game. There's going to be no Project M. There's going to be no UCF. You're not going to use Slippy. You're not going to do any of that." And yeah, as long as you follow our guidelines for what we think is appropriate for your event, then we won't shut you down. Like, honestly, it's really shitty. Like, imagine you have this huge fan base of people who go to tournaments, who are fanatics about your game, who, like, create content, do all sorts of crazy shit around your game. And the farthest you're willing to go to help them out and partner with them is to just make sure that they follow your guidelines and that the event's not shut down. Like, even in the MLG days when I was playing Brawl, like, they wouldn't actually broadcast the matches. Most of those matches actually never got released on YouTube because MLG was so scared of Nintendo. That just shows you like how shitty Nintendo has been to the community as a whole. Like, cool, now they're letting us like run events and stream tournaments, but it's like, dude, this is the bare minimum they could be doing. Honestly, at this point, I would just rather have Nintendo leave us the fuck alone. Just like pretend we don't exist. Like, as excited as I was for Nintendo to partner with us and like, you know, hopefully huge things would happen, as excited as I was for that, like at this point, I would rather just have Nintendo fuck off, ignore us forever, and just let us do our own thing, dude. Just let us be a grassroots community. Let us have our little shitty tournaments, and that's it. Like, I'm down for that, bro. If I never have to look at Reggie's dumbass face again, like, I'm happy. Is he even the guy anymore? Is he even the... I don't think he's the guy anymore, right? And yeah, don't get me wrong. If Nintendo was actually doing shit for the community and, like, down to help us out, down to, like, promote us or help us grow or, like, even provide things for tournaments, you know, anything, even just, like, promotion. Like, if Nintendo was down to do that, I would have such a different point of view on this whole thing. If they were, like, doing all sorts of shit for us, and then, you know, we came out and we did something that they didn't like, but, you know, this relationship was, like, helpful to each other, then I'd be super down. But, like, right now, it's not a symbiotic relationship, right? Like, we don't really get anything from Nintendo, and they get everything from us. Yeah, that's just kind of where we stand with the cease and desist stuff. Like, Big House is canceled. People right now online are pissed off. I am curious to see how we're all going to band together and try to make a difference with everything. Because, yeah, right now, basically a bunch of people are shitting on Nintendo, but I think the Melee community can come up with cool ways to band together and make something big happen from this, right? So I'm curious to see what's going to come from that. But I think an important thing to think about with this cease and desist is what it means for the future. Like, what are the implications that come with this cease and desist of the Big House Online? And the first one that came to me yesterday was just like, dude, like, if they're willing to cancel the Big House, they are willing to cancel pretty much every online event, right? I don't think it has to do specifically with Nintendo being a partner with the Big House. I don't think that's the exact and like only reason they did this. I think it's because we are using Slippy, and they do not like Slippy. They don't want their game being emulated. Nintendo didn't design Melee to be online, so now they're fucking pissed, and this is the first step of what they're doing. So the first thing that popped into my mind yesterday was just like, oh shit, Summit is literally going on right now. Like, beyond the Summit, they're having their online tournament. They're using Slippy, and it's going on right now. Is Nintendo going to try to cancel it? And obviously, I can't answer that myself, but it would absolutely not be surprising if Summit received a cease and desist. I think there's actually a chance of that happening. And it's kind of crazy here, you know, because, like, you know, Big House, I'm sure, probably operates under an LLC. Like, it probably operates under a business. But ultimately, like, the whole thing belongs to one person, right? It belongs to Juggle Guy. So when they get an email, Juggle Guy immediately sees it. You know, he knows he doesn't have millions of dollars to battle against Nintendo. So he just immediately shuts down. And I'm sure Nintendo knows this too, right? They know that the Big House is run by Juggle Guy, maybe a couple different staff, and that's it. They send this letter out, and then that's it. And I'm just curious how that actually operates for like a company like Summit, who's actually a like business that, you know, doesn't just run one tournament a year. Like, yeah, let's think about the worst case scenario where they receive a cease and desist this weekend, right? Obviously, you know, whatever, we stop. That sucks. That's life. We have to end the tournament. We'll figure out some way to make it work. Like, whatever. Fuck Nintendo. Sure. That sucks, but okay. What does that mean for the future, right? Like, Beyond the Summit can't afford a legal battle with Nintendo. They can't afford to get sued by Nintendo because they do so many other different things. People's livelihoods depend on BTS, right? Like, they can't just sacrifice all that just to have a Melee tournament, is my whole point. Like, basically, my question moving forward is Beyond the Summit willing to have some sort of negative relationship with Nintendo where at any point they can get shut down or sued just for the Melee community? Like, really, like, are they going to risk getting sued just to host the next BTS Melee tournament? And I don't really know, right? Like, I would think the immediate answer is no. Like, they can't really afford to do that. That doesn't make sense logistically, right? Obviously, Beyond the Summit's not going to put themselves in a situation where they're going to get sued like that. Like, they just can't. It actually just makes me really worried about the future of Melee. Like, is every company now going to be scared of big Nintendo's hands coming in and just sending a cease and desist at any point? Like, is this just a Slippy thing? Like, I don't know. Like, is Nintendo just going to be pissed at all tournaments now? I don't know if any big companies are going to want to start getting into Melee and doing events or doing anything of that, just because Nintendo is just always pissed. Nintendo is just like always there, kind of looming in the background, and as soon as you do something they don't like, they're just going to come out and try to cancel your event. It's kind of fucked up. Like, over the years, we've had all sorts of cool events happen with big companies like, Red Bull, Yahoo, all sorts of stuff. And now that Nintendo's starting to come out more, again, always threatening litigation, always threatening this stuff. Like, do you think any of these big companies are going to want to risk partnering with the Smash community again? Like, it's just so bad, dude. Like, I don't know. I hope things don't change, obviously. Like, I hope we still get those Red Bull partnerships and, all these great things we have at tournaments. But, like, from an actual business point of view, like, do you think Red Bull reading these articles and reading all this stuff, like, really wants to fuck with Nintendo if Nintendo were to come out after them? Like, no, like, that's not realistic, right? And along with that, of course, like, what does that mean for the future of online Melee, right? Like, right now we're in COVID times, everything is moved to online, everything's working out, we've transitioned pretty well, we've done a good job with all this, but like, does it just stop now? Like, are we done? Like, are we still going to stream tournaments? Like, I don't know. I actually literally don't know. I don't understand what's going to happen. I don't know if any other major events were planning on doing online tournaments, but like, now we know that's not going to happen, right? Like, I wonder if Nintendo's looking at Twitch now, right? Like, does Twitch have to worry about their partners or like, people on their platform streaming Slippy? Maybe. Like, honestly, if I was at Twitch, like, yeah, that's something I would be thinking about too. Like, these are all things that we have to consider, and it's just like pretty crazy to think about. Like, this shouldn't even be a thing. Like, it really sucks. Like, is the creator of Slippy going to get sued? Like, that's another question I'm thinking about. It's just like, holy shit, I know this dude, he's a good guy. Like, is he gonna get cease and desisted by Nintendo? Is he just gonna get sued by Nintendo? Like, that's a crazy thought to have. Nintendo at any point could do any of these things. It would not be surprising, and it would probably be within their legal realm. Like, obviously, I don't know shit about the law behind this, but like, I'm pretty sure they can do all this stuff easily, right? They have the money for it. They have the lawyers for it. They can just do this at any point. And yeah, that just kind of worries me. Straight up, I already said it, but like, really, like, I wish they would just back off. I wish at this point, like, we could just have our community, let us be in the corner, just fucking ignore us, and just go do your shit, dude. Just go away. Just literally leave. Like, I am down for that at this point, dude. I think we've tried it. I think we've tried the symbiotic relationship. They are not down for it. They want to like be big brother and just watch over every single thing we do. So fuck them. That's just where I'm at. I don't know. It just sucks that, we finally got something nice. Like, we got rollback and we got all these things going. And like, I feel like the community was finally coming back and starting to thrive together. And then, boop, here comes Nintendo just fucking everything up. Obviously, nobody really has answers for the future. Like, we don't really know what's going to happen this weekend or like even beyond that. But yeah, the whole thing is a little worrisome for me. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the near future. Obviously, I hope nothing happens. Obviously, I hope they just like, this is a one-time thing and they just ignore us. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this just might be the start of Nintendo starting to send more of these out and more of these out. So Bobby Scar was actually on Ludwig's stream last night, and he was super optimistic. He was talking about how this is a good opportunity for the entire community to come together and make something good happen for this. Like, hopefully get some good changes coming from this. So yeah, I don't exactly know what he has planned, but that sounds really hype to me. Even being on Twitter or Twitch last night, everybody was tuning in together. Everybody was like hanging out, and everybody was kind of like uniting for this one cause, which was fuck Nintendo. No, but like, everybody was like uniting together, and it really felt like a tight-knit community for the first time in a long time. I really felt like everyone was coming together, loving each other and shit. So, I'll stay optimistic too. I hope some good comes from this. I hope we can all come together and make something positive come from this. I don't exactly know what that means yet, but hopefully we find some answers soon. But yeah, those are just kind of my thoughts on the whole thing, guys. I just wanted to kind of open up the convo, share my thoughts, and hear what you guys have to say too. Feel free to let me know. Hopefully we'll have some updates soon. We'll see what happens. Guys, I'm out. Thanks for tuning in. Much love. Peace out. Fuck Nintendo. Later.